Hi everyone, this is Luca and today I'm showing you the patches that I used for Samba Pa Ti of Carlos Santana. Hi everyone, this is Luca, welcome once again on my YouTube channel, and today I'm showing to you the two patches that I used on my MOOER GE200 in order to try to recreate the sound of Santana in Samba Pa Ti. So first of all, let's talk about the guitar that I used. You haven't seen this guitar much on my channel. This is not a PRS, it's not a Paul Smith. This is a Brogi Vanguard. It's an Italian luthier. I bought this guitar back in 2007 during the Meet Milan. It was a showcase, like a really small NAMM here in close in Milano. And yeah, I really like this guitar. It was really good looking. As you can see, like the top is gorgeous. It's quilted maple, like as its best. It's crazy figured, and it's really thick as well. It's 35 millimeters, I guess, and it's got Brazilian rosewood fretboards, so really nice woods for this guitar. And the pickups are Seymour Duncan Antiquity. Really nice pickups, but I installed this pickup afterwards because I wanted to have more of a vintage kind of PIF humbucker sound, and I'm really happy with these pickups. They're really amazing. And for the pick I used the Fender USA nylon 0.60 millimeters, and I used the round part of the pick instead of the tip. I used this part, like Scott Anderson would use, and also Robin Ford, because it would give you more fatness on your sound. But I wanted to have more snap, so I couldn't have that sound with a thick pick, So, picks are really important to search for a different tone. So I encourage you to do so, to try with different picks. Also, I have to mention that I rolled off the tone parts on the guitar quite a lot, actually. Yeah, I think it's like on 3 or 4, something like that. I don't know, I just use my ears, but it depends also on the parts that you have on your guitar. But don't be afraid to roll off the tone. And also I played around with the volume part a lot. I think like the minimum value that I used was around 6, 7, and then I opened to 10 just when I wanted to have more gain, more distortion. So like back in the days, guitar players were used to play with their volume control a lot, and that will, it's really helpful for you if you want to have different nuances of your tone without changing presets and stuff like that. That we now in 2019 we are able to do that. But these subtle little things, I think that especially young guitar players, that they're used to have a lot of technology available. I think it's a really nice tip. Also, Guthrie Govan said the same thing. I remember when one guitar clinic that I attended, he said, try to explore all the different sounds that you can have with your guitar. And yeah, I totally agree with that. And I just used the bridge humbucker, but changing the tone with the volume control, yeah, makes a lot of tonal change. And also, where you're gonna pick, it's really important as well. For this particular song, I was playing a lot here. You can take a look at, you can watch my video. I will put the link here so you can just see all these little things that I did. So trying, to move your pick this way, you can discover a lot of different tonal options that you were not aware of. So don't be afraid to experiment, okay? Instead of buying a new pedal every day. I know it's fun, but sometimes it's not fun for your wallet. Anyway, so now let's dig into the editor to see how I programmed the MOOER in order to try to recreate the same sound of Carlos. So, as you can see here, the sound blocks are not a lot this time, but I'll turn them off as usual. So let's start with the amplifier. I used the 65 USDX, so basically it's a Fender Deluxe reverb, I guess. Small amplifier, because this is the early era of Santana, and I'm not sure that the Mesa Boogie were already available. I don't know. So since that the early Mesa Boogies are basically a hot-rodded version of Fender Princeton or Fender Deluxe, like small Fender amplifiers, I thought that this one could have done the job, and yeah, I'm quite happy with the result. So that's why I chose this amplifier. And as you can see, like, the controls are pretty much maxed out. The gain and the master are maximum, and you know, the EQ also is kind of generous. So that's pretty much my trademark in almost all the patches that I do. I don't know, a lot of people asking me, oh, is that a thing, you know, that Europe always maxed out all the controls. I don't know, for me it just sounds better. I don't know if it's the MOOER GE200, or I don't have much of an experience with other modelers, so I don't know that, but I can tell that here, I don't know, makes everything a little bit more real. So yeah, this is my control, so feel free to copy them. And then as a cab, I used the standard IR, you know, that comes with the actual amplifier. The Tube 6v6, I'm not sure that the Deluxe amplifier would have that, but sounds good and doesn't make a lot of difference on the sound. Yeah, a little bit, but not that huge. And the microphone, always the trusty SM57 with a little bit of distance from the microphone and a little bit far away from the center of the cone, in order to have a little bit more of a mid-rangey sound instead of a more trebly one. Then, of course, let's hear the sound without anything else. It's not really inspiring yet, but let's try to turn on the overdrive. I chose a tube driver because I remember back in the days, I think it was more than 10 years ago, I ordered a tube driver directly from BK Butler, and I was not really happy actually with the pedal. I thought that, you know, that would be there would have been, you know, instant Eric Johnson kind of sound. That no, it wasn't like that at all. I remember it was kind of fuzzy and almost broken kind of sound, and I wasn't happy at all with the pedal. But I'm sure that I wasn't expert enough to, you know, to dial in a nice tone, and but I remember that it had that kind of trebly fizzy thing on top, almost like a fuzz actually. So I tried different pedals here in the MOOER GE200, but then I said, okay, let me try the tube driver, because maybe it can have that kind of sound. And yeah, dial the controls in this way, like pretty much max out also here, I could reach that magical tone that I think is really nice. So here's the tone with the tube driver. So yeah, it's kind of like that broken amplifier, almost when you plug an amplifier, you know, not an amplifier, but also when you have no IRs, you know, it's kind of like fizzy, and that I was like, okay, that's the sound that I want to have, and then I will shape that sound with an EQ, and I think it will do the job. So that's what I did. But I have to say that it's really dynamic. So this was the tone with my volume pot at maximum. But this part I played with the volume control on 7. So this is the tone now. And you can hear the magic. So yeah, nice job, MOOER, because, you know, it's not easy to make these things really dynamic, and I think that this particular combination, it's kind of nice and interesting to have a dynamic kind of tone, you know, that old kind of sound that I was telling you about before. Then, okay, let's turn on the EQ first. So yeah, the EQ will, you know, get rid a little bit of the bass as usual, because I don't want to, I want to have a more mixing friendly sound. And yeah, I just pumped up a little bit the mid-low, like the 600 Hertz, to have a little bit more beef. Some people told me like, yeah, the sound is pretty much there, but you know, there's not enough fat, not enough beef. And also I think it's because of the guitar, because this guitar really Paul Smith like kind of sound, and Paul Smith guitars are not that bassy, not that fat. You know, if you compare with the Les Paul is way more fat and nice to me. I like Gibson sound better, even if you don't disagree, guys. I'm sorry, but it's a personal preference, you know. So you would tell me, why do you buy this guitar? Yeah, because it looks nice, and yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, I couldn't get that fatness that I read somewhere that Carlos had a Gibson back in the days, so it's not a Paul Smith guitar, so maybe it makes sense as well. I'm not saying that Paul Smith guitars are bad, they're awesome. It's just not like my cup of tea, even if I would like to have a Silver Sky, but that's another thing. Another topic for another day. Then I just rolled off the high frequencies, as I told you before, you know, because that was a little bit too fizzy, and with the EQ the sound is this one. Oh yeah, so for me it does the job. For me, this is the sound, you know, it's there. And as I told you before, I wanted to reach the tonal character that I wanted before, you know, with the tube driver, and then I was like thinking, yeah, maybe I can just tame a little bit the sound with an EQ. And that's what I did, and I think it worked pretty good. Last nice touch, it's the reverb, and I chose a plate reverb for this tone because I think it have more of a vintage kind of sound. I don't know, maybe it's just self-suggestion, but it works. And these are the controls, so a little bit more decay and level than usual, and maybe I could have put a little bit more of reverb. I'm saying that all the time. Maybe one day I will nail it better, but you know. And this is the sound with the reverb as well. Yeah, nice and lush reverb, and it's really good. Like, it was mixing good with the backing tracks, even if I wanted to have a little bit more, but I told you already. Anyway, this was the first patch, but then there are a couple of overdubs in this song, and so I changed a little bit some of the controls for the overdubs. This part, for example. Okay. Okay, for this part, as you can see, I turned the level a little bit more high on the second, this Samba 2 preset. As you can see, this is Samba 1 and Samba 2, so it's 56 instead of 44. So a little bit more reverb, and then the major change I did on the amplifier. So this is Samba 2. Basically what I wanted was I wanted to have a more round kind of sound instead of sharp and edgy. So I turn down the treble, and I wanted to have more mids. Okay, as you can see, like mids are maxed out and treble are a little bit less than before. Even if I turn on the presence a little bit, because it's always like a matter of compromises, you know, just always adjusting. And then the tube driver, as you can see, in Samba 1 there's more gain and the tone is brighter, and in Samba 2 the tone is a little bit darker and there's a little bit less gain. Also, I change just a tiny bit the position of the microphone, so off axis a little bit more, and that's pretty much it, because the EQ, I don't think I changed anything. Yeah, I didn't change anything. So yeah, guys, this is the settings. These are the settings that I use for this particular tone, and yeah, if you like the sound, you are free to copy these settings, and I hope that you learned something from this video today. If you have any question, or if you know more details about this particular Santana tone in the real world, if you know what Carlos was using back in the days, feel free to put a comment, write down a comment down, and I'll be more happy to read it and to answer as well. If you'd like this video, guys, please put a thumb up, and if you didn't already, subscribe to my channel. More videos are coming. So this is everything for today. Thank you very much, guys. See you next time. Ciao.